Brayan Bello is back for the Boston Red Sox, but is he truly back? More on today's Locked On Red Sox.
You are Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello and welcome to Locked On Red Sox, your daily Boston Red Sox podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your host, Gabby Maljanian, former ESPN social media associate, and also currently the host of the Boston Balling podcast as well. And I'm here to bring you the latest in all things Boston Red Sox, Monday through Friday, straight to your favorite podcast feed, and it's all completely free. So you might as well continue to tune in because Locked On is your team every day. Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the show. The Red Sox are coming off of a nice win against the Mariners last night, taking the first game of the series 8-3, with Brayan Bello making his return to the Red Sox rotation. So on today's show, I'm going to be talking about his return to the team, as well as the middle relief pitching concerns right now with this team, and giving a little bit of a fun prospect update, because while the current team is winning games, you can also think about the excitement that comes with the guys coming up. Now, obviously, Brayan Bello making his season debut is a big storyline from last night's Red Sox game, but perhaps another huge storyline that is just as important is Triston Casas belting a 3-run home run. For somebody who's been scuffling at the plate this year, he really needed that. He was responsible for the Red Sox win on Saturday. He hit a walk-off single off of the wall in the outfield, and that led to the Red Sox walking it off. And I said, okay, maybe this is what he needed for his momentum to help him moving forward to be able to contribute more offensively and get himself back on track. Now, Casas has been known over the course of his career to start the season off slowly, and it really has taken him until May sometimes to truly take off and get himself going. But is this going to be a season where he starts off earlier and finds a way to be impactful at an earlier time in the season? Because if he hit this big home run in the game last night, maybe that'll be the start of something for him. So that's definitely something I'm looking out for moving forward with Triston Casas. He has all smiles on his face after hitting that home run, and he really just needed that for his morale and his confidence this year. So I'm very happy for him. Much needed, really strong hit and very impactful hit by him to put 3 runs on the board for the Red Sox and open up the game for them. Everybody was going nuts for him, and I'm just really happy for him. Big offensive nights also for Alex Bregman, who had 2 hits and 3 RBIs, as well as Ceddanne Rafaela, who recorded 2 hits in the game too. So lots of guys who contributed in this game offensively. Abreu put together a 3-hit game. So lots offensively to be excited about. But Brayan Bello did make his season debut on the mound. He got the win in the contest. He threw 5 innings, giving up 4 hits, 1 earned run, and 3 walks with 3 strikeouts. And the 1 earned run that he gave up was on an early home run in the first inning, but then the Red Sox immediately came and tied it 1-1 in the bottom of that first inning. And he didn't give up any more runs other than that. So he recorded the win, and although he didn't look completely sharp, it ended up overall being an okay start. Now, the biggest problem that Bello had in the game was the command. He could not locate his changeup at all. His slider was definitely his put-away pitch in this game, and he kept going to it. In fact, over the first few innings, in terms of his usage, he was throwing the slider 46.4% of the time, the sinker 32.1%, the changeup 16.1%, and the four-seamer 5.4%. So that's an interesting breakdown, because the four-seamer is something that he has always been good at. That's always been a pitch that has been seen as a lockdown pitch for him. And in the second half of the season last year, once he started moving more into the fastball and utilizing it in his arsenal, was when he started to really pick it up, and he started to find a lot more success on the mound. So when I spoke with him after his second rehab start in Worcester, he had said he was going to incorporate the fastball a lot more back in. So far in that game last night, he didn't show that that's something he's planning on doing, but I think he wanted to go out there and try to throw his off-speed stuff and see how that went. So he did, and the slider was definitely his best pitch on the night. Could not locate that changeup, so he started to move away from it a little bit and primarily was relying on both the slider and the sinker. So he wasn't overly effective in terms of his pitch count either. So he ended up throwing a total of 97 pitches with 51 of them for strikes. So in the first inning, he threw 23 pitches. Second inning, just 11 pitches. So that was a more effective one. 22 pitches in the third inning, 20 pitches in the fourth, and 21 pitches in the fifth to get to that 97 pitch total. And the problem was because he did have base traffic and he would put guys on, but he always found a way to get out of it. And although he didn't look super sharp, he would limit the damage, and that's definitely what we are looking for. Picked up 3 strikeouts. I definitely want to see more swing and miss stuff from him moving forward. That was a big thing going into this season that I talked about as an area he could improve in, is generating more swing and miss stuff. But he did generate lots of ground balls, which is what he does best. And that's something that I'm hoping he continues to be able to do, because he induced 10 of his 15 outs on grounders. And that is something that Brayan Bello is known for. He doesn't give up the long ball a lot. He doesn't induce a lot of balls in the air in general. So after shaking off an early solo home run by Jorge Polanco, he allowed the Mariners to hit just 1 ball in the air against him after that. He allowed 4 hits and 1 run, walking 3 and striking out 3. And after he was the opening day starter in 2024, he struggled in the first half of that season after he signed a new contract, but was strong down the stretch. Now that he's healthy again after showing up to spring training with right shoulder inflammation, he figures to be an important piece in the Red Sox rotation moving forward. So I'm hoping that he can be, but continue to induce the ground balls. And what I really liked from Brayan Bello in the outing, what his ability to lock in and really throw the pitches that he needed to throw and make the plays that he needed to make. And when it came down to it, people weren't really touching that slider a lot. So that was a pitch that really worked for him. He just needs to have better control of the strike zone. First inning in general was super rough for him. They were able to get out of it on a nifty double play to end the inning. And actually on the double play, it looked like there shouldn't have been an out call at first base, and it almost looked like Bello, who went over and covered the bag, was off the base when he was trying to make the play, but the Mariners took too long to decide if they wanted to challenge it, so they moved on with no challenge. So he could have been safe on that play, but hey, we take it. It got the Red Sox out of a messy first inning. I expected this from Bello. I expected him to go out there and be a little bit rusty, because he did struggle a little bit in his rehab starts. His command wasn't all there in those outings, so I expected him to be a little bit shaky upon making his season debut, but I was happy with the fact that he was able to generally settle in after that. He does need to work on being a little bit more effective inning by inning, because he shouldn't be utilizing 97 pitches through 5 innings. He definitely has to be able to be a little bit more effective than that. And if he could have gotten 1 more inning in him, that would have been great for the Red Sox, but he was able to get through a strong 5 innings, which is very good. And then the Red Sox did go to the bullpen after that. But overall, my takeaways on Bello: command has to be better. The slider is a lockdown pitch that he should continue to utilize. The changeup needs work. Definitely was a pitch that was rusty in his first start. And the fastball, continue to utilize that and mix it into the arsenal, because that's a strong pitch of his that he throws. So I'm really hoping that's a pitch that he could get back to being a regular pitch that he does throw. But I bet Andrew Bailey wanted to go back to the off-speed stuff again with him, see how he does with that in his first appearance of the season with the Red Sox, but I'm happy he got a win to start it off. Hopefully big confidence boost for him moving forward. We're definitely happy to have him back. And the Red Sox activated him yesterday in order for him to make his start. And as a corresponding move, they optioned Zach Kelly to AAA Worcester. He entered the season with a .395 career ERA over career games between his 22 debut and the end of last year. This season, he has also shown flashes of really good stuff, but he's just struggled to be consistent. In 7 appearances, he allowed 10 runs, all earned on 12 hits. He's issued 2 walks, hit 2 batters, and struck out 11 men in 10 innings. He's 30 years old, and he is one of the hardest throwers on the staff with his fastball velocity in the 77th percentile. On the Red Sox right now, only Garrett Whitlock, who's in the 79th percentile, and Aroldis Chapman, who's 98th, outrank him. So being in the 77th percentile is definitely nothing to be ashamed of. However, though it's a small sample size, he is also getting hit much harder than in the past. He's generating a 46.7% hard hit rate compared to 31.7% over the first 3 years of his big league career. And Alex Cora was basically discussing why he got optioned, and he mentioned that it was consistency. In his most recent outing on Sunday, he gave up a single and hit back-to-back batters to load the bases without recording an out, and Justin Wilson allowed all 3 of those runners to score after he came in to take over for Kelly. So Alex Cora mentioned that he needs to be really a lot more consistent. One good outing in a week isn't going to cut it. And the Red Sox know that he has more potential and that he's capable of being a back-end reliever on a championship caliber team. They just have to get him there. He does throw first pitch strikes a lot, so that's really good for him because he gets ahead in the counts early. But he isn't able to do that as consistently as the Red Sox hope. And he feels like there's a chance that Zach Kelly is doing too much, is what Cora was talking about. So one thing that Cora did mention was to get 3 outs, we're trying to use every weapon instead of just being on the attack and get people out. So the Red Sox have decided that Zach Kelly does need to get more reps in AAA. I agree with that choice. He definitely wasn't producing at as high of a level as the Red Sox would have wanted him to. Go and gain some consistency a little bit in AAA and then come back and be better than ever. And hopefully he could be a reliable relief arm at some point out of this pen. But then you also have other pitchers who are returning, like Lucas Giolito, who's supposed to come back to the rotation next week. So they're going to have to make another roster move then. Cutter Crawford, when he comes back, what role is he going to be used in? So lots more to figure out when it comes to the pitching. But sending Zach Kelly to AAA when he was struggling definitely made sense. So hopefully he can continue to improve and get back to the big leagues at some point. Speaking of pitchers, I'm going to be talking about the Red Sox middle relief situation coming up next. Get the supplies you need from the site made for the skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is the reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400 plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need. Delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free TradeMaster program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals are already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the TradeMaster program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. Definitely make sure to purchase your electrical supplies through Supply House. They are good quality and you won't be disappointed. The Red Sox did not disappoint us last night either, as they got a big win over the Mariners to kick off a series against what they should see really good pitching in. And that is promising that the Red Sox were able to get the bats moving in the game on Tuesday night. They, as a team, recorded 11 hits in the game to go along with their 8 runs and no errors. The defense has been coming together. They have been putting together some really nice plays in the infield, and there just hasn't been a big mess defensively that has been costing them runs as much over the last few games. So I'd like to see that continue there. Brayan Bello did record the win. But when you think about the Red Sox and where they're at right now, you look at the starting rotation, which overall, now that Walker Buehler has been starting to figure things out, has been pitching pretty well. Richard Fitz, before he went on the IL, was pitching well. Garrett Crochet is a stud. He'll give you what you need. And now, you have Brayan Bello back in the fold. Hopefully Tanner Houck can figure things out. But you have guys who have been reliable in the rotation. And then you have your high leverage relievers, your go-to guys in pressure situations. And those guys are Justin Slayton, Garrett Whitlock, and Aroldis Chapman. 3 guys that you can throw out there that are lockdown guys that can get the job done for your team at any given time. So having those types of players is absolutely crucial on a playoff team. And if the Red Sox want to be a playoff team this year, they're going to need to rely on those 3 guys to really step up in the pen. Now, the problem is, where does the middle relief come from? That is a part of the bullpen right now that is a bit of a concern, because you look at those high leverage guys that I just listed. Then you have a guy like Justin Wilson, who came into the game on Tuesday night and just could not find the strike zone, just threw 2/3 of an inning, giving up a hit and 2 earned runs, but he walked 2 batters. His ERA is now at a 4.70. If you look at the underlying numbers of Justin Wilson, he actually has been more effective than you might think. He has relatively been reliable this season. And if you take the 3 high leverage guys that you trust no matter what out of the equation, Justin Wilson is up there as in that next category of guys that has been reliable. So he's a guy who hopefully can continue to provide some value in middle relief. Didn't have the ability to locate the strike zone last night, it seemed, and it just wasn't his night. Everybody goes through that. But we do need certain players to step up in those middle relief type of roles. Then you have Zach Kelly, who I mentioned already, who was optioned when Brayan Bello came back because he had been struggling to find any sort of consistency on the mound. Then you have Brennan Bernardino, a lefty who is also hot and cold. He has outings where he's very good and outings where he doesn't necessarily have it. We need more of those good outings to take place with him in order for him to be seen as reliable. Then there's Greg Weissert, who early on in the season was pitching well, and he was arguably a guy that you could throw into more high leverage spots, and he could be trusted in those types of positions, but his last couple outings have been a struggle for him. In the game on Saturday when he pitched, he came in for Garrett Crochet, and the Red Sox were up 3-0, and he gave up all 3 of those runs, so the White Sox were able to rally back and tie it. That was not his day. And then he pitched in last night's game too, just pitched 1/3 of an inning, didn't give up a run, but he did walk 1, didn't have his absolute best stuff, didn't have full command of the strike zone. So he's another one that could end up being a little bit hit or miss this year. And then Garrett Whitlock and Liam Hendriks came in. Whitlock, lockdown guy, is going to have good stuff. Through 2 innings, gave up just 1 hit, but no runs, and he fanned 2 batters in the process. His ERA now is a 1.84. He's just been super reliable all season. Bullpen Garrett Whitlock is definitely the way to go, and he should stay there. Then you have Liam Hendriks, who I was also going to bring up, who threw 1 inning in the game. He pitched the 9th because the Red Sox had a 5-run lead to work with, so they had a nice cushion for him. He had allowed out, though, 2 350-foot about flyouts in that 9th inning. So obviously that's a little bit concerning. Luckily, they didn't leave the ballpark, but he doesn't seem to be ready for high leverage yet. This was just his 2nd outing. In his 1st outing, he struggled and he was kind of being hit all over. In this 2nd outing, he had a 1-2-3 ninth, so he was a lot more effective than he was in Sunday's game, but he was getting hit hard. So I would definitely continue to proceed with caution when it comes to him, not put him in situations where he's pitching in high leverage until he shows that he's really ready for that. So he's another player who could be hit or miss right now. And I definitely like the idea of Liam Hendriks being here. I think he's a great veteran to have in this bullpen, a great guy to help guide some of the other players who are less experienced. And I think that's going to pay dividends for a lot of these guys. But I am a little bit skeptical in terms of his ability to be effective just because he has been removed from the game for so long. And he looked great in his rehab outings. And then he comes out there and struggles in his first major league outing of the season, which again was to be expected because of how much time he missed and having to get himself reacclimated to throwing in a Major League Baseball game and his Red Sox debut. So that's also another factor that went into all of it. But I didn't like the hard hits against him in last night's game. And it's a sign that he definitely needs more time and low leverage. So you can't really stick him into those high leverage roles. So who is going to be relied on in high leverage when it's not one of those three guys? Say you play 2 or 3 games in a row that are really close and you need to call on people in the bullpen to step up. And Whitlock, Slayton, and Chapman are not all available because they've all pitched a lot as of late. Who do you go to? And that is the problem I have with the middle relief section of the pen right now, is there isn't a definitive answer on I can trust him, or this guy can get us through the inning, or this is a guy who I would throw in there if the Red Sox are up by a run or two because he can keep it close. I can't confidently or definitively say that about any of those players that I just listed, because then you also have a guy in Josh Winkowski who also struggles with consistency and started the season in AAA and has been a guy that the Red Sox have been hoping can figure things out. And he's had a couple good outings, but he's also had some not so good outings. And the problem is that they just don't have established consistency from a lot of those middle relief guys. And I think that's something that shouldn't come as a huge surprise, because that was an area of the roster that was circled as a question mark going into the season. And something I had talked about when going over the whole roster right before the season started was, I said, if there's a weak point on this team, it's likely going to be the bullpen, particularly the guys who are pitching in the lower leverage moments, because there are a lot of question marks surrounding that group of pitchers and who's going to step up and be reliable from that group and who's not. I'm hoping more reps in AAA can help Zach Kelly. They also have Cooper Criswell in AAA right now. I'm hoping he could eventually get called back up after he continues to throw a little bit more in AAA, and that when he gets called back up, that he can really step up to the plate and contribute and have good outings, because he was getting walked all over when he made his first couple outings of the season for the Red Sox, and they made the decision to send him back down to AAA. They felt like that was where he was best suited for right now. So he's a guy also who could be reliable when he comes back up. But the problem is we don't really know, because we didn't see him be super effective early on in the season. So the problem is that there are just too many question marks right now with the middle relief guys. Now, what I will say on the flip side of that is that it's beneficial to have guys who aren't as effective in the pen when it comes to games that aren't close. So, for example, a guy like Zach Kelly or Josh Winkowski or even Liam Hendriks right now, guys who haven't always had their best stuff every time they've been out there and who have struggled. If the Red Sox are winning by a lot of runs or they're losing by a lot of runs, you don't want to waste guys who are strengths to your bullpen. You don't really want to waste guys who are high leverage guys or who can make a difference for you on the mound in that way. You want the guys to pitch in those types of games who are going to be used to give your main guys rest when it's not going to make a difference in the results of the game, because we know the Red Sox are likely going to win anyway. Say they're up 13-1 in the 8th, or say they're losing 13-1 in the 8th, and you know that the likelihood of them changing the results of that game is incredibly slim. So it's good to have weaker arms in the pen. Obviously, you can't have too many of those guys, but if you know you have your lockdown guys and then you have a few guys who aren't as consistent, those are the guys you can throw when it's not as high pressure. I just think the Red Sox line between super reliable and not super reliable is a little too thin right now, and I think they need to get a couple more relievers more consistent and performing at a higher level so that the Red Sox have more than 3 players that they can put into that high leverage conversation. So definitely something to look out for moving forward. But coming up, something that we are all monitoring is the Red Sox top prospects. I'm going to be mentioning a couple of them next. Looking for a snack that's both delicious and nutritious? Crack into a good source of protein with Wonderful Pistachios. Wonderful Pistachios is one of the highest protein nuts. Each 1 ounce serving has 6 grams of protein, giving you over 10% of your daily value. Plus, they're packed with fiber and better for you unsaturated fats to help keep you feeling fuller longer. Personally, I love the no shells variety. It's the perfect grab and go snack for busy days. Whether I'm snacking at my desk, on a road trip, or just need a quick protein boost, they're always my go-to. And if you love cracking open every shell for that satisfying crunch, the in-shell options are a classic favorite. Get snacking and get cracking with the snack that packs a protein punch. Visit wonderfulpistachios.com to learn more. When I tell you these things are addicting, I really do mean that. You will buy them and not look back. So I highly recommend getting them the next time you're at the store, because the best part is they actually are healthy and you won't feel guilty by having unhealthy snacks. So add it to your shopping list. The Red Sox are starting to play better baseball, or so it appears, after winning an 8-3 game against the Mariners last night. Brayan Bello is back. Lucas Giolito is on the way. Liam Hendriks got activated over the weekend. So lots of guys coming back from injury with more on the way. And that has to be exciting for this Red Sox team as they navigate through their schedule and they look to be a playoff team in 2025. So there are lots of high hopes going around for good reason. And while you have high hopes about the current major league team, you can also be very excited about the prospects that the Red Sox have coming up, who have been playing very well, particularly Roman Anthony and Marcelo Meyer. Roman Anthony in the Woo Sox game last night went 2 for 4 with a double in the Woo Sox 5-0 win. The 20-year-old outfielder is slashing .286 with a .419 on base percentage and .543 slugging with 4 home runs over 86 plate appearances. So he has been hitting like he means business. I mean, this kid has a really special bat and a really strong ability to absolutely barrel the baseball, and he will hit for power, and he will be able to be effective offensively when he does come up. The holdup with him not getting called up right now is because the Red Sox do want him to get a little bit better defensively before he gets called up. So I still think it would be a little bit of time before we see him make his major league debut, but he is playing very good baseball right now at the AAA level. Another player to think about is Marcelo Meyer, who hit a 403-foot 2-run home run in the 5th inning in the Woo Sox victory last night. And Meyer is another guy who is going to be special in Major League Baseball. He actually leads the International League with 24 RBIs in his last 18 games played this season. Another player who hit a home run in the game is Yasmani Grandal, but he likely is going to be somebody who probably stays in the minors for now as some catching depth down there. But Marcelo Meyer, he is a guy who hits a lot of deep fly balls. From what I've seen from him in the Worcester games that I've covered, he is a fly ball merchant. He'll hit a lot of baseballs in the air deep, even if they don't all fall. It's a good sign that he has a really strong power bat and an ability to hit the baseball very far. And at a ballpark like Fenway, those types of hitters are very much welcomed because he can hit one over that center field wall like it's nobody's business. So I'm really excited to see Meyer when he does get called up to the majors and how he adjusts to that. But right now is probably not the time because Trevor Story is performing well in the majors right now, and defensively, he's just one of the best players in the league with his glove. So the Red Sox might not necessarily want to jump to calling Marcelo Meyer up when they have Trevor Story, who's very serviceable this year now that he's finally healthy. And they want to make sure they're doing this right when it comes to these prospects. They don't want to rush calling these guys up and have them struggle and then regret the decision, and then it ruins their confidence, and then it throws off how well they play later on. So I understand that it's really exciting to think about these prospects, and everybody wants to see them up now right away. But the biggest thing to remember with that is that they are prospects and they're going to continue to build their game. Trevor Story is a guy who the Red Sox committed to for a few more years after this. And so I think they genuinely see him as a key component of the roster. And Marcelo Meyer is somebody who will get his opportunity. It's just a matter of time because Trevor Story's not here forever. He's not going to be the shortstop of the future. That is where Marcelo Meyer comes in. And so as long as Meyer is patient, he will get his opportunity. The biggest thing to remember here, though, is just I think they want to make sure he's fully developed in AAA because he missed basically the entirety of the season last year with an injury. So they want him to get more reps at that level before they say, okay, Marcelo can be called up now. So definitely lots to think about and lots to consider, but it's really exciting because the Red Sox have a super bright future. And if they make the playoffs in 2025, we can be excited about that, but we can also be excited about the fact that they have a lot of young talent on this team that is on the rise, guys who are very fun and enjoyable to watch. And from covering all these Worcester games now, I can see their work ethic, and the more conversations I have with them, the more that I know that they are determined to make the most of their time in AAA right now and get called up and take it day by day. So that's definitely the attitude that you need to have. They're not worried or focused too much on getting called up. They're just focused on playing their best baseball right now and doing what they need to do to help their team win. So really like those attitudes from Meyer and Anthony. They will be here before we know it. They just continue to crush it in AAA. So definitely lots to be excited about there. While you're excited about them, you can continue to be excited about the podcast, as I will be releasing new episodes Monday through Friday. And thank you for deciding to make it your first listen. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. It's a great way to stay caught up with all the games that happen that day. Think about and learn what you missed, because if you were watching the Red Sox, you weren't able to watch all these other games, so you can stay caught up and up to date and everything going on across the league. You can find it on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Thank you so much again for tuning into Locked On Red Sox. Like I always say, keep the faith, go Red Sox, and I'll catch you on the flip side.